One word I would use to describe him, and that is steady. He's the same person, whether you're on a business trip in Japan with him, or whether you're on a hunting trip in Mexico with him, or a hunting trip anywhere else. Pete is the same person. He is dependable, and that steady part of his personality is Pete Gaffney.
The steadfastness, and I think the steady hand that I've enjoyed as a friend and as a client, I've seen that within his family.
I got my CPA certificate while I was in the service, so when I got out, I was fully certified. Had a couple offers here and in Dallas, and decided I'd come back home. Went with Herd McElroy and Vestal, and had been there 37 years, and it's just been great.
At the time, he was about 6'5" and had big bushy hairdo, but he's still the same person. Genuine questions, really easy to relate to, and the kind of guy you really felt like you wanted to work with.
We dealt with some very difficult issues along the way in a professional sense, and I've came to appreciate what it's like to have a friend that is a professional advisor.
I think the one thing that I probably admire most about his business is that he does my taxes and I don't get an invoice.
He's taught me a lot, not just the technical kinds of things on how to fill out an income tax return or how to analyze a financial statement or things of that nature, but he's really taught me how to get involved in a client's problems to the extent that you're rolling awake in bed at 3 in the morning worrying about them and trying to come up with solutions.
Oh, I don't know, I just thought he was cute. The funny thing about that is that after I met him, he shortly called and asked me for a date, which I refused.
She took it off her finger now, doesn't mean a thing.
Our first date, that was back in the dark ages, and at Newcomb, you could stay out till 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and you only had a few nights a semester where you could stay out till 1 o'clock. But you had to use one of those on Friday night. So Pete took me out, and it was about 10:30, and I said, I have to go back in. And he said, you're not taking a 1 o'clock? And I said, indeed not.
In today's world, I think that's probably the nicest compliment that I can give a man, if you can raise your children and they do well. And he's happily married and has a very stable home life.
Everybody knows their family. You know, he brings his family to everything, so it's not like he's a businessman on a pedestal without any support. I think he'll be the first to admit that his family is a big part of his success and a big part of his life.
He was always around for basketball games or to meet me at the hospital to have someone stitched up. And, you know, always participated in school events with the children. I think they would say he was a pretty good dad.
Dad, you did your best, so we did our best. You raised a CPA, an attorney, a PhD, and a Wharton Business School graduate. You told us every step of the way how proud you were of us. Now it's time for us to be able to say how proud we are of you. Congratulations on this great achievement. We love you.
I did shoot him one time. We were dove hunting in Mexico. He deserved it. He was poaching on my birds. I told him not to go there, and he did anyway, so I just kept firing shots up there, and you know, some of them landed on him, but that was his choice. It was a bad choice, I guess.
There is a thing that exists called Yang Ming. It's a duck club. I think one of the great things that I have seen is when Pete began to write letters out about the spending habits of various people in the in the Duck Club and what we had done to ourselves, he began to sign his letters as Dad.
I do know what he's going to do in his retirement. He's planning on opening Senor Pete's Tamales and Tax Tips, a rolling cart stand that he's going to run in Laredo, Texas, or across the border of Mexico. And I think Charlotte's going to cook the tamales for him.
We came across a stoplight that I perceived to be a yellow light, and apparently Pete perceived it to be a bright red light. And as we advanced through this light, there was an oncoming car that Pete saw the headlights, and I can tell you that the noise I heard from Pete that evening is a noise that any young man who's wanting to make a good impression does not want to hear.
Pete took over as managing partner when he was 50, and when he got to be 60, he felt that a 50-year-old person should be the managing partner, that you deal with younger people in the firm, and it was something that was important, and so he voluntarily stepped down so that somebody else could be managing partner, and I think that's hard to do and showed a lot of, in my opinion, character.
What has been wonderful is how freely Pete has given of his time in the various varied civic activities that have gone on in Shreveport and Bossier for 40-something years.
I think he'd be a great elected official. He's got a lot of integrity. He's really open to people and ideas, and knows how to bring ideas out in people, which is kind of a difficult thing sometimes.
I think he thinks it's imperative to give back to the community that's given so much to him. And he's willing to give his time, his talent, and his money.
He's certainly been an asset to this community, and we appreciate what he's done for all of us.
And I'll say, not just as somebody that goes and sits at meetings and listens to what's being said and you know, takes his book and goes home. Pete's the kind of guy that gets out there and really gets involved.
I think he invites me and others to be the best we can be. He invites us to have fun with him. He invites us to work hard.
Mr. Gaffney, I think, embodies all of the positive attributes that any young man aspires to possess. I lost my father 2 years ago, and thought the world of my father. And it's important for me that Pete knows how much I look up to him and how much I feel blessed to have him into my life.
You can tell he's an Irishman. He's very outgoing, has a wonderful sense of humor. He's a good sport. He loves to laugh, and he'll be the first to laugh at himself.